And now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, and Alexandra Berrocal. Alexandra is a recent graduate of Cal Poly Humboldt's journalism program. She has also written 18 short books. They live with their family in Santa Ana, California, with their mother, their grandmother, their mom's friend, and their dog. They live with bipolar disorder, autism, and cognitive deficits. And yet, in spite of all that, they have been able to publish amazing books of poetry. Please welcome Alexandra Berrocal.
If you are anything like me, you downed large quantities of meat last Friday. That's okay. I am not here to shame you. Everyone's body is different. Some people need to eat meat for their physical health, and there is no shame in that. Now let me begin. This is relevant to food, I promise. Last time I was on the psych ward, approximately 9 years ago, God spoke to me. Now, this is nothing special. Lots of people on psych wards think God is speaking to them. My boyfriend at the time, Marty, once spoke via Facebook Messenger to a woman who thought God was talking to her. He said, "Does he look like Ken Burns?" Real witty there, Marty. However, the God that spoke to me didn't have an appearance. This God was a feeling, which I have never had before or since. I felt God as a sense of urgency, dismay at how humanity is treating the planet and one another. As part of this message, God told me that humanity has run out of time. Coincidentally, when I was talking to Marty about this, he's Orthodox Jewish, so he came at it from that perspective. He said that one sign of the Messiah would be that he would announce that humanity has finally run out of time. That did not help. Marty later amended what he said, saying that God would tell us when humanity has run out of time. Talk about moving the goalposts. One of the things God was really dismayed about was climate change. Now, there are 3 things we can do about climate change. We can A, sue major polluters so they can hopefully change their ways, or at least stop lying to us about the state of the climate. B, stop driving and take public transportation everywhere. And C, become vegetarian or vegan. The vegetarian ambulance. And C, become vegetarian or vegan. The vegetarian and vegan part is what I'm going to talk about today, once I cover everything else. We absolutely should sue major polluters. However, that isn't exactly a simple, everyday thing you can do in your own life. The thing about running out of time is that all we have is the present moment. 10 minutes from now might as well be 10,000 years from now, because they are both in the future, and you will never be in the future. You will only ever be in the present. Therefore, whatever you do about the environment will have to be in the present moment. Otherwise, we will fall into the trap of procrastination. Suing major polluters is something only lawyers can do, and not all lawyers at that. Most of us are not lawyers, so what can we do? There is also the option of not driving and taking public transportation everywhere. We live in Orange County. Here, public transportation is okay, but not great. Mind you, when I was in community college, I did bus everywhere for a while. I lived near 2 bus lines. My community college was right next door to one. My real-life bestie lives near 2 others. Seriously? And if I was willing to walk, I could even take public transit to my DBSA, Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, meetings. So it worked for me and my circumstances. However, I realized that for most people, it would be extremely cumbersome and time-consuming. Therefore, for most people, this wouldn't work. Keyword being most. Check your local bus lines. That leaves C, becoming vegetarian or vegan. Now we come to the food part. Most people don't have the know-how to do a vegetarian or vegan diet in a healthy manner. However, that doesn't mean the situation is hopeless. You see, the lines between vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian, and meat eater can actually be extremely blurred. When I was in college, a close school friend, his name is Aiden, in case you are curious, pointed out that even though I considered myself a meat eater, I ate at the vegetarian table more often than not. When I bought groceries at the campus grocery, I sometimes bought vegan provolone. It wasn't bad. I also went through a period where I experimented with milk substitutes. I eventually came to the conclusion that I prefer cow's milk, one reason I could never be full-on vegan, but almond milk mixed with chai mix is not bad. Going back even further, one of my favorite snacks when I lived in Durango, Colorado, was a small bowl of vegan cheese topped with a scoop of regular sour cream. Even Korean cuisine has a soup that includes both meat and tofu. Are you beginning to see what I'm getting at? The meat industry is responsible for 14 to 29% of all greenhouse gases emitted by humans. I got that from AI, so take that with a grain of salt. The dairy industry emits around 2 to 3%. I am not sure that we can entirely eliminate it, but if we reduce our reliance on meat and dairy as food sources, we can put a significant dent in our carbon footprint. All it would take is a bit of culinary curiosity. So next time you're cooking dinner, try substituting tofu for your meat of choice. If you can't eat tofu for whatever reason, try seitan. The meat substitute, not the devil. Or textured vegetable protein. And again, I am not asking you to completely eliminate meat from your diet. However, I am asking you to treat meat substitutes as you would every other form of meat and give them an equal place at your table. There are lots of interesting vegan dishes out there too. If you don't want to give up meat, you don't have to, but you should try them. There are actually a lot of authentic traditional dishes that are vegan, especially in Chinese culture. I should know. I own a cookbook on the subject. It's amazing that the UUA works with marginalized communities on climate change. This makes them unique among people working on this issue, as far as I know. I like the emphasis on intersectionality. We have a green sanctuary program, a climate justice program, an ethical eating program. I have tried to tackle this topic today, and a divestment and socially responsible investment program. They also have a wide variety of educational materials to learn from. They are also forming some interfaith partnerships. All of this is really, really good. I don't mean to knock the UUA. Also, a really good thing about the Green Sanctuary movement is that it's not a one-and-done thing. The Green Sanctuary designation is an ongoing thing. We have to complete actions every year in 4 areas: adaptation and resilience, mitigation, justice, and congregational transformation. However, I personally feel that we have not been doing enough. If we were doing enough, we would be drawing a lot more national attention than we currently are. We need to do more in the way of civil disobedience as a faith. A while back, I heard something about scientists chaining themselves to buildings to protest climate change. Why aren't we doing that? Are we really that lazy and complacent? Why aren't we picketing companies that pollute our planet? Why aren't we picketing companies that fund climate denial? Why aren't we on the picket line? And of course, adding tofu to our chicken soup. I hope you enjoyed my sermon.